All right, welcome to NFL Nexus. Today, we are diving deep into a really fascinating situation brewing in Chicago. We're talking about a massive gamble. A general manager who is basically staking his entire philosophy, his entire reputation on a player who has been on an NFL field for a grand total of 74 snaps. Now, this isn't just another comeback story. Oh no, this is way bigger than that. This is the ultimate test of a brand new way of building a football team. And honestly, how it all shakes out could define the Chicago Bears for the next 5 to 10 years. So let's get into it. So that's the big question hanging over everything, right? Can a player, a defensive tackle, mind you, with less than a full game of experience under his belt, actually become the make-or-break test for a whole new era of Bears football? I mean, on the surface, it sounds kind of crazy, but to really truly understand the weight on this one player's shoulders, we have to do something a little painful first. We have to rewind the tape and look at the decade of frustration and disappointment that made this new era so desperately needed in the first place. For any Bears fan watching, yeah, this part of the story probably stings a little, but it is absolutely essential context. You see, before you can build a new future, a real sustainable one, you have to be honest about the mistakes of the past. And for the Bears, that previous decade, wow, it was just filled with these huge, franchise-altering swings and misses that dug a hole that they're only just now climbing out of. Let's really break down the decision-making under the old regime, under former GM Ryan Pace. It wasn't just one bad draft pick. It was a whole philosophy of being super aggressive, of these high-risk trades that just consistently blew up in their faces. I mean, 2017, that's the one that still keeps people up at night in Chicago. Trading up one spot for Mitchell Trubisky, and in the process, passing on a guy named Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, that one hurt, and it's a move that set the franchise back years. Then you fast forward to 2019, the fallout from that huge Khalil Mack trade, which was for a great player, don't get me wrong, meant they had no first-round pick. It just highlighted this pattern of constantly shipping out your future building blocks. But the 2021 draft, my gosh, that was the final straw. They trade a future first-round pick to move up and get Justin Fields. And out of the 7 players they picked in that entire draft class, not one, not a single one, got a second contract with the team. Just let that sink in for a second. An entire draft class, completely gone in just a few years. It was a talent black hole. But that era is officially over. Done. In 2022, a new general manager, Ryan Poles, walks into Halas Hall. And he didn't come in just to move some things around. He showed up with a completely new blueprint for how to build a football team. One that was focused on being disciplined, on being sustainable, and it was the complete opposite of the high-risk gambles that had defined the team for so long. And this right here perfectly captures that massive shift in thinking. The Pace era, it was all about the home run swing, always trading away future picks to get that one big star player or to make a splashy move up in the draft. It's exciting, you know? It's a high-wire act. But when you fall hard. Ryan Poles came in with a totally different mindset. Let's build a foundation. Forget the quick fix. The goal is to build a team that can win for a long, long time. And you do that by collecting draft picks, by trusting your scouts to find talent in every round, not just the first, and then, and this is key, by developing that talent yourself. It's a fundamental shift from chasing headlines to actually building a roster. And you know what? This new approach has already paid off in a big way and built a ton of credibility for Poles. I mean, look at the evidence. His very first pick as GM back in 2022, cornerback Kyler Gordon, he's developed into a key piece of that defense, a guy who looks like he's on a collision course with a massive contract extension. Then, in 2023, he makes this super controversial move on draft night. He trades back from a spot where every fan was screaming for him to take Jalen Carter. Instead, he picks up extra draft capital and takes offensive tackle Darnell Wright. And what happens? Wright has a phenomenal rookie year and looks like he's going to be the team's anchor on the offensive line for the next decade. And then, of course, there's the big one, Caleb Williams, the first overall pick in 2024, who so far looks every bit like the guy who could finally break that long, painful quarterback curse in Chicago. These aren't just good draft picks. These are foundational pillars that prove his process works. Okay, so Poles has proven he can hit it out of the park with his top picks. He can find stars in the first round. We get it. But a truly great general manager, the kind that builds a dynasty, they find value everywhere in the draft. And that brings us to the ultimate test of his entire philosophy. And it all revolves around a player from that same 2023 draft class who, because of some seriously bad luck, has become almost a ghost, a complete afterthought. So back in that 2023 draft, after he grabbed Darnell Wright in the first round, Ryan Poles used his second-round pick, number 61 overall, on this powerful, super athletic defensive tackle from Texas A&M named Shamar Turner. He was supposed to be another one of those foundational pieces, you know? A guy who could wreck things from the inside of that defensive line. But his name, it got buried, and fast. Not because of his play, but because of a relentless, brutal string of injuries. 74, that's it. Let that number sink in. That is the sum total of Shamar Turner's rookie season on the football field. To give you some perspective, a starting defensive tackle in the NFL, they'll play somewhere around 700 or 800 snaps in a season. Turner played less than 10% of that. It is barely more than one full game's worth of playing time, and it was spread out over 5 little appearances before his entire season just went up in smoke. He missed 14 games in total. It's just nothing. His rookie year was just this horribly frustrating cycle of 1 step forward and 2 giant steps back. It started right away in training camp with an ankle injury that sidelined him for a month, which meant he missed all of the preseason, all of that critical time to get up to NFL speed. Then the team was being smart, being cautious with their second-round pick. They made him a healthy scratch for the first 2 games of the season just to make absolutely sure he was 100%. And then, just as he was finally getting back, just as he was starting to get into the rotation and show some of those flashes of why they drafted him, it happened. Week 8, a season-ending ACL tear. The timing couldn't have been more devastating. So think about it. You've got a second-round pick, you've only seen him for 74 snaps, and now he's coming off one of the most serious injuries a football player can have. Conventional wisdom, logic, it all says you hedge your bets. You bring in a veteran, you draft another guy to compete for his job, right? You protect yourself. But that is not what the Chicago Bears did. And this, my friends, is where this story goes from being about an injured player to being about a GM's conviction. This quote right here, this is the whole ball game. This is a massive public vote of confidence from Ryan Poles himself. He's not just giving you some generic PR line like, oh, we hope he recovers well. No. He is explicitly on the record saying that before the injury, he believed Turner was on the exact same path as some of the most highly touted players coming out in the next draft. Now, the names he mentions there, Burden, Loveland, Trapilo, these are guys that draft experts are talking about as potential first-round picks in 2025. So what Poles is doing here is he's publicly betting his own reputation as a talent evaluator on this kid. He's telling everyone what little you saw in those 74 snaps. That was just the tip of the iceberg. And so this is what it all comes down to. This is why we're dedicating an entire deep dive to a guy with less than 80 career snaps. Because what Shamar Turner represents to the Chicago Bears this season is so much more than just a defensive tackle. He is the living, breathing embodiment of the biggest question facing this front office. Is their process going to produce another forgotten footnote, or did they find another piece of the foundation? And this is exactly why this whole thing matters so much. Ryan Poles has already shown us he can hit on the big names in the first round. We know he can identify guys like Darnell Wright and Caleb Williams. But the truly great teams, the ones that compete for championships year after year, they aren't built on first-round picks alone. They're built by GMs who consistently find difference makers on day 2 and day 3 of the draft. Shamar Turner, the forgotten second-rounder, is now the ultimate test case for that philosophy. If he comes back from that ACL tear and has the kind of breakout season his GM is betting on, it validates everything. It proves they can find talent outside of the top 32 picks and, crucially, develop that talent through major adversity. His success is the final proof of concept for the entire Ryan Poles blueprint. And hey, if you're enjoying this kind of breakdown, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button for NFL Nexus. And please give this video a like. It really does help us keep making deep dives just like this one. And so that's where we'll leave it. As this next season gets going, yeah, all the cameras and all the attention will be on the big names, on Caleb Williams. But the real story to watch, the one that's going to tell you everything you need to know about the health and the direction and the scouting brains of the entire Chicago Bears organization, it might just be the guy in the trenches, their forgotten defensive tackle. A breakout year for Shamar Turner wouldn't just be a feel-good comeback story. It would be the final loud and clear validation that a new and maybe, just maybe, a finally successful era of football has truly arrived in Chicago. So what do you think? Is Poles making a smart bet on Turner, or is the risk just too high? I'd love to hear what you think down in the comments below. And before you go, a quick and really fun way to support the channel is by checking out our NFL-themed coloring books. They are perfect for kids, grandkids, or hey, even for adults. You can find the link for them right in the description, or just use the QR code you see on your screen. Thanks so much for watching.